Opening statements, very simple. We're coming off a 42-win season, fourth regional appearance in the last 5 years. We've won 4 conference championships in the last 5 years. We have a lot to build on. What I will say is, coming into this year, we really feel like our talent level upgraded from years past. It's this group that came in this year is the 13th rated recruiting class in the country. Now it's up to the coaching staff to not mess them up. So, we are looking forward to opening weekend and the rest of the season. I think we have a really great schedule, some great non-conference games. Obviously, open up with Ucsb, and later in the spring we have Cal State Fullerton coming to San Diego State. It's gonna be an exciting weekend for us, and in between that, we still have to go out and win the conference. The Mountain West Conference, and on top of that, since I think last time we hosted the conference tournament was 2010, we are hosting the tournament. The trick for that is that we have to be one of the top 4 teams, so that's the goal, is to be at least one of the top 4 teams in the conference and host a great baseball tournament at the end of the season.
Can you talk a little bit more about this opening weekend, getting the rings from last season, what that's going to mean to the team and what's going to get you guys going?
Well, yeah, it's exciting. It's the first time we've done it at baseball. Typically, we've handed out our championship rings here at Viejas, in front of the show and stuff, and it's really cool. But I think we felt this year is going to be exciting to bring back the guys from last year's team that aren't currently on the team to come back to the baseball field and celebrate another championship at Tony Gwynn Stadium. So we're very excited about that, and we're also excited to have some of the guys that have graduated or signed professional baseball to be back on the Mesa, this weekend to help us hopefully win some games against Santa Barbara.
What do you expect out of Santa Barbara? You guys played last year, you won 2 out of 3. What kind of team are they, and what do you see them bringing?
Their pitching is going to be very, very good. I think they're very strong on the mound. They're similar to us. They're going to have a lot of new faces on the yard. Some kids that were hurt last year that did not play when we were at Santa Barbara last year. So they're going to have a little bit of experience, some new guys, but they're going to be very strong on the mound, and it's going to be a great test for us. They were in the College World Series a couple years ago, and it's a great way to open up the season and kind of get a barometer of where we are moving into our 2018 campaign.
Mark, you lost a lot of bullets in the batting order. How do you replace that type of veteran talent?
Well, I think the biggest thing, as I alluded to before, is just you got to recruit great, and I think we have some really talented young men, local talent as well. Casey Schmidt, who's a freshman, should plug in at third base. Highly regarded third baseman from Eastlake. Matt Ruddick's another local product, an outfielder. Chad Bible, who played last year for 7 games and then had to go through cancer treatment the rest of the spring. He's basically kind of a new guy into our lineup as well that can provide some punch. But who we have returning is some very experienced players. This guy right here, Chase Calabuig, David Hensley at shortstop, Dean Navarez, Jordan Verdon, Jacob McCowa, Julian Escobedo. So we do have some returners that have a lot of experience, and they also have experience under the big bright lights of regional play. So we're excited about those veterans coming back and hopefully kind of helping us manage the season and win another Mountain West Conference championship.
Do you need home run hitters to go deep into postseason in college baseball?
No, you need pitching and defense. And that would be anywhere in whatever level you're playing at. And really, we feel like our strength of our program is 2 spots, and not because Chase is here, but our pitching staff is upgraded. We have some better arms, on the weekend starting. Our bullpen is exceptionally, I think it's very, very good. And the strength of our team is our outfield. We have really legit 5 outfielders, and only 3 can play, but we have 5 legit outfielders that we can kind of mix and match and match up and put some different guys in the lineup and kind of keeping the lineup consistent as well. So we're very excited about those 2 areas of our program.
Mark, you mentioned the top 13 recruiting class. Did you guys change your approach recruiting-wise? Did you just get lucky with a few guys, or is it a more people are noticing the Aztec program? What are your thoughts on the reason for the boost?
I can answer that question in one word, is yes to all of them. I think the biggest thing is that the luck factor. It's the first time, been here for 13 years. It's the first time that we held a recruiting class that had kids that were either considered very highly in the draft or turned down a lot of money to come to San Diego State. And we kept 4 of those young men that, on campus. And it's the first time I've been here that we kept some highly touted high school recruits or, professional athletes to come to San Diego State. I think that speaks volumes of what's happened in the past with us winning tons of championships or tons of games and starting to make a mark in San Diego, and we're going to continue to work that way.
Chase, I know we're not even at first pitch of this season, but can you explain what happens to this team once conference and the conference tournament rolls around, where you guys can flip the switch and all of a sudden be a completely different team and go on these incredible runs like you've done in the past?
I think it's just a mindset. I think we're just tough mentally and able to, when the time comes and the lights come on, we're able to fight and come together as a family and do the best we can to pick each other up and be there for one another. And in the end, that's why we're successful in the tournament, I think.
Chase, what's the difference between last year's team and this year in your mind, and what challenges are there for this year's team to make its way?
I think, like Coach touched on a little bit, I think the talent's definitely there. It's definitely outshining, I think, a lot of the talent. I think last year we were a lot of older guys, a lot of experience, and I think we were able to grind out wins and just out tough teams. But this year, I think we're a little bit younger, but I think they're learning and catching on very quickly, and as soon as we get into the routine of season, I think they're going to be ready to go, and I think the talent's going to outshine, and we're going to win a lot of games.
How do you, as a veteran, kind of bring some of those younger guys along? A couple of them are starting, but they haven't seen them.
Yeah, as a senior, I kind of take it upon myself to pull some guys aside and let them know. And I'm sure as the season goes on and little things happen here and there, things that I've overcome or had to experience through my time, I'll be able to be there as kind of like a lending hand and give them some advice and things that I would have changed or have done back when I was a freshman had I known the little obstacles that they'll be facing.
Mark, what's the key thing to developing young pitching?
Well, honestly, I think it's in any part of baseball, it's really developing through process and understanding the data grade work habits in order to be successful once they have an opportunity to get on the mound, and that process really starts, in the summer coming into their freshman year. And, we have a great pitching coach in Sam Peraza. I'd be remiss to not mention Joe Oliveira, who's our catching guy, and that they go hand in hand. But it's really understanding that the day-to-day workload that, a pitcher has to have in order to be successful once they have that opportunity to get on the mound. We don't know who's going to be starters moving into the fall. We kind of treat everybody the same, and then once we kind of get into the back end of our fall, we start to see who the guys we might be able to train as starters, and then guys that we can train as bullpen guys. And that's definitely a different dynamic also moving into the spring, because you definitely want to have guys that are going to be in the bullpen, get up during the week, 3 or 4 times during the week and pitch an inter squad and kind of train them for that. In the fall, it's a little different, where everyone's kind of pitching in inter squads, once a week. And so it's definitely an evolving process, and the biggest thing is having kids understand who they are and what they can accomplish, and have them command their fastball first. And once we get to that point, I think that the rest of it kind of falls into place.
Chase, just like I asked Coach, what's it going to feel like to get your ring, opening weekend? How's that going to motivate you going forward?
I think it just kind of reminds us what we went through to get to that point last season, and it kind of just allows us to reflect on the success we had and the group of guys that we had and the friends that are going to come back and get to see them again. But I definitely think it's more of a motivation to want to do it again and to be able to see that ring and be able to put it on again. I think that's what we all want to do in the long term. That's our goal, and I can only find it as more motivation to want to get another one.
Mark, what's the difference between programs out here that have had success and wound up getting to Omaha, Arizona, UCLA, Fullerton, the Beach? What's the difference between those programs and where you are right now?
Well, again, I've been here for 13 years, and I think those are the models that we're trying to design our program after. But I think it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of recruiting classes to build up a talent base in order to get to a regional number one. The next step for this program is to win a regional. It's kind of what we work for every day. I think everyone talks about Omaha, and I think it's great. But really the next step in our process is to continue to win Mountain West championships, get to a regional, and we have to get to a point where we have the confidence to go in and win a regional. We felt like we had a very experienced team last year going up to Long Beach. We ran into a buzzsaw in Long Beach. They were playing exceptionally well. We'd beat them twice during the regular season, and they were clicking on all cylinders, but we felt like we were prepared to go in there and win. So really the next step for our program to build momentum towards getting to the World Series is to win a regional. And that's the plan of the program, is that that's the goal of our program, is to play in postseason every single year, have that experience, and take those experiences to allow us to win a regional, get to a super regional, to have the opportunity to play for a national championship. And ever since I've been to San Diego State, I've told everyone that I talk to is that this is a program that can win a national championship. And we're going to continue to work that way. And we sit in a hotbed of baseball, and high school baseball in the country, and we're recruiting San Diego, we're recruiting the dog out of it. We technically, and no disrespect to Chase, but we could start every position on the field with guys from San Diego, and we're going to continue to get the best San Diego recruits, here to come to San Diego State, and we're going to go take on the world with the best of San Diego, and hopefully get to a point where we can raise a national championship trophy.
Has the JC recruiting pipeline gone away because of rules?
It's not rules. It's more philosophy. We really feel like it's really good to get kids in our program that we can develop over time in a 3 or 4 year period. I think that lends itself to kind of what you were talking about. Is in order to build a program, you have to have kids in your program for a number of years in order to develop standards and expectations on a year-to-year basis. And so if you did that with through recruiting classes of junior college guys, I think you lose that dynamic. So what we're trying to do is build a philosophy and a value system over time rather than have a quick fix.
Thank you. Coach, how about the incentive, you were saying the Mountain West tournament here, the incentive of having it here, and does home field, is it like basketball? Is home field and baseball kind of the same thing? I know like New Mexico, I'm sure they recruit a lot of guys who can hit the ball in the ballpark because the ball carries well there. Playing it here, is that incentive as far as the season goes along?
Well, absolutely, it's an incentive. Of course, we don't want to be embarrassed and not be one of the top 4 teams, but I think the one thing that I learned a long time ago when I was at New Mexico, and Jim Schlossnagle, who's the head coach at TCU, was at UNLV, the one thing that he said is that you have to host tournaments, host championships in order to mirror what it's like to host a regional. And if you look around college baseball, a very big majority of the people that are going to Omaha are hosting regionals. And so that's the goal of our program as well, is yes, to host Mountain West championships. Hopefully we can continue to do that, and then hopefully get to a point where we can host a regional and a super regional in order to get to Omaha. So yes, there is a big home field advantage in our sport as well.
Do you recruit to the ballpark?
We recruit talent, and I think last year we hit a lot more home runs than we typically do. I don't think that'll be the case this year. But Chase has some home run pop though. But we try to kind of, form our philosophy over the kids who we have here. Our offensive philosophy is swing the bat, get on base, you're green, you go. We're very aggressive style, and that's not going to change based on our personnel. We just happen to hit more home runs last year because we're a little stronger, and we have a great strength coach.
Were you talking about launch angle more too?
No, we never talk about that. We'll leave that question right there.
I have a feeling I know what the answer is because of where the tournament is this year, but are you a fan of having a designated site before the season starts rather than what's happened the last couple of years where you could go into the last season, like last year, you go into the last week of the season not knowing where and if you're going to go to the tournament, if you're going to host, if you're going to, I imagine that's hard on everybody. It
was. Last year was chaos, and it wasn't even organized chaos. I think when the coaches sat down as a group, we felt like, okay, how can we reward the regular season champion? And we're thinking in a perfect world, you'll know that about 2 weeks, before the season ends, so you can start making arrangements to go to wherever you're going. Well, in the last weekend of the season last year, there's 3 teams that could have hosted the tournament. So I think it did definitely, I don't have hair, but I think I lost more hair just trying to manage that, get to Albuquerque, move a group of guys over there, get hotels and all that stuff, meals and all that stuff. that was hard. On top of that, you had to go out and win games. We did mission accomplished, and then coming home, our team was divided, and kids had to sleep the night in a airport in Phoenix, and so we don't want to ever do that again. So hopefully we can find a designated place to have the Mountain West Championships. I think in the future we're looking for a neutral site, and the overall consensus, or not overall, but the majority of our coaches want to have it somewhere in Southern California. And one of the reasons is if you haven't been to Albuquerque in May, the wind blows about 60 miles an hour out, and it's really not. It's fun if you're a hitter. It stinks if you're a pitcher, And so I can tell you that Andrew Martinez hit a pop-up to second last year, and it went out of the park by about 40 feet. So worked in our favor.
Jason, what is the general energy around the team? Coming into this first game, are you guys excited? Are you anxious? Like, what's ready to get going?
I think everybody's on board. We're all pretty excited to get going. I think it's been a long fall, a long coming into spring, a lot of baseball. We've had a lot of fun playing with each other and playing against each other, but I think it's time we start playing someone new and someone different, and that way we can all pull from the same side of the rope and start having some fun playing the game as Aztecs.
Are you excited to start off against Ucsb?
Very excited. I think that's a great program, and I think that them coming in here is going to be a little bit different than last year going there, and I think they have a lot of talent, and it'll be a good chance for us to prove to ourselves what we can do as a team and what we can do as individuals against some of the better, like he said, good pitching and good offense. So we'll see how we come together for that.
I think it was Baseball America already has you into the tournament. Do you pay attention to that?
I mean, I think we got to take it one step at a time, one goal at a time. I think it starts with the Mountain West, and once we get through that, and if we can accomplish that goal, then it's on to the regional and so on and so forth. So one step at a time.